Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I am Carolyn Bradley, and I work for FSU's Office of Research Development. This webinar is called Finding Funding 101, and it's designed as a primer in how researchers from all disciplines at FSU can locate funding opportunities to support their research goals. A broad range of people registered. So we have here people who include faculty, staff members, postdocs, grad students, and even undergraduate students, and I welcome all of you. We have plenty of resources to support all of you in your search for research funding, so I'm glad you're here. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be shared probably next week online. If at any point you want to interrupt me because you have a question or there's like some kind of technical issue I may not be aware of, I was hoping you'd be able to send me a chat message in the chat and I'd be able to see it, but now I'm wondering, it actually might be hard for me to see because of how I'm screen sharing. So Rachel's here on the chat, a coworker, so she can probably text me if it's something important. Otherwise, you can just put your questions in the chat and I'll be able to check from time to time. Okay, so here is today's agenda. Is the PowerPoint working? Are y'all seeing that right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, so I'm just showing the workshop agenda. Okay, so for anyone who's new to the Office of Research Development, I'll begin with a brief overview of what our office does. Okay, oh look, it does give me an indicator when I get a chat, so that's great. Okay, so I'll know if someone needs a chat. Okay. So first I'll give a brief overview of the office. Then I'm going to show you around the Office of Research Development's website to acquaint you with the many resources we offer there to help researchers locate different kinds of funding. Then I'll go on to provide a demonstration of Pivot, and Pivot is FSU's most powerful discovery tool for funding opportunities. It's really great. You can find basically any kind of funding opportunity that's available, almost certainly be there, except for smaller grants maybe provided by states, individual states, although you can usually find those too, but it's very large. Currently, there are more than 28,000 funding opportunities worth more than $100 billion available on the site. What's also neat about Pivot is it houses scholarly profiles, so researchers can identify collaborators from other institutions there. Currently, more than 3 million scholars have profiles up on Pivot. And if you don't have one yet, we are going to try to help you get one up there today. Okay, we will also be looking at a couple other funding opportunity databases, which will be helpful for you. So as I said, I work for FSU's Office of Research Development. The office is a component of the FSU Office of the Vice President for Research, and we're in the North Annex of Westcott Building. And our general mission is to strengthen research competitiveness at FSU. And to this end, we are devoted to equipping researchers for success, building connections, investing in promising new ideas in researchers, and promoting a culture which helps research to flourish. My title is a proposal development and funding specialist, so I work in a general capacity to help researchers from all disciplines create strong proposals, but I also have a special focus apart from that. We're all kind of generalists, but we also have, some of us have special focus, and mine is in arts and humanities. I have my PhD in English literature, and when I'm showing you around Pivot today, I'll be drawing on my own research interests to help you show you like how I would search for funding for my research interests. So when I was a graduate student, I was studying late 20th, early 21st century experimental fiction and poetry in both English and Spanish languages. Also, prior to coming to FSU last March, I was working at a research center at UF, and it's called SHARC, that's S-H-A-R-C, the Southern HIV and Alcohol Research Consortium. So you can imagine they were getting a lot of really large public health grants. So I'll also show you how I could search for research opportunities for them. So I'll use like HIV and alcoholism as a starting point for some of these like mock searches I'll show you. Okay, the Office of Research Development, or ORD, as we call ourselves, is really just for faculty, but we do appreciate that a lot of postdocs and graduate students have needs as well. And in fact, we are always able to help when we can, and if not, then we direct those people to the Office of Postdoctoral Affairs and the Office of Graduate Fellowships and Awards, and those are both wonderful to provide help with obtaining grants and fellowships. Okay, so I'm going to send our brochure to the registrants after this. I'll also send a copy of this PowerPoint, but basically this is just one side of our brochure, and it kind of gives you a sense of what we do at ORD. So we offer workshops, focused assistance for new faculty, extensive proposal development services, and we also work with the Council on Research and Creativity Support. And for those who don't know, the Council on Research and Creativity Support, or the CRC, is a group of faculty who serve as advisors to the Vice President of Research, and they oversee a lot of important internal funding programs we have at FSU. And these include seed funds. So these you can apply to get like a little grant. And then the idea with the seed fund is that you can then use that, your results from that study to, you can leverage that in an application to an external agency for a larger grant. You can say, look, we have, we did this little pilot study and got these results, and this is promising, so now we should have a big study. Okay. There's also like a range of honorary programs for FSU faculty through the CRC. Okay, I think I'm going to move off of the PowerPoint. One second. Okay. And I think I'll just show you the ORD website now. Okay. So I'm going to try to share my screen and do this right. I think it's this one. Okay. Okay, so ord.fsu.edu. It's super easy to remember. That's our website. Did that work? Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Can y'all see that? Are we good? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see? Can you see the website? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I appreciate it. Okay. All right. So as we kick off this webinar, I just want to begin by pointing out that finding the right funding opportunity for your research can be challenging. You will need to begin your funding search well before you actually want to begin your study, just because the proposal development process and then the agency's review and selection process will both take time. So before you start, you want to ask yourself a couple of fundamental questions that will guide your search. First, what do you want to study? And two, who cares about your study or its outcomes? You might ask yourself, three, who else in the scholarly universe is conducting similar research? These questions should be able to guide you. Someone says, how long does the process take on average? That's a very good question. We see a range. We see some people who spend all year preparing a proposal, and that might be for a large, like a research center grant. And then you see sometimes people, like I just oversaw somebody who put together her grant proposal really quickly within a matter of weeks. So it just depends. We'll be talking about that. Okay. After clarifying the answer to these questions, you should be able to start thinking about which funding agencies or sponsors would seem most likely to fund your research. You will find a range of different types of sponsors. So these will include federal agencies, public US government agencies like the NIH, that's the National Institutes of Health, the NSF, National Science Foundation, and the NEH, the National Endowment for the Humanities. You'll also see state agencies, and the state of Florida offers a lot of really like interesting grant programs. So that's something we can talk about. A lot of them won't be available necessarily on Pivot. Okay, and the international agencies, nonprofit organizations, including private foundations, which host like philanthropic grants, and corporate sponsors. And those are for-profit entities, which believe they might be posed to benefit from a researcher's findings. So they might be willing to partner with you. You might want to start building relationships with other scholars conducting research in your field, or at the very least begin learning about those scholars and their work and where they have received funding from in the past. That'll be an important start for you. Okay. All right. So when you want to get started finding a funding opportunity, you can you might want to begin on our website itself, so ord.fsu.edu, and come down here. Under resources, we have this piggy bank called Finding Funding. Here you can explore a variety of web pages which will help you find funding, and you can see up here we are really stressing Pivot. You want to make sure you see that. We have these, like, I think there's 12 little portals here. All of these are worth investigating. I'm just going to show you a few to get you started. Monthly grants, newsletters, and funding email subscription portals. So if you come in here, you can sign up for our office listserv, and you will begin receiving regular newsletters. We send out the first newsletter, research development and grant writing newsletter, on a monthly basis. FSU actually has a paid subscription to this newsletter, which comes to us from a private company called Academic Research Funding Strategies. This newsletter gives lots of tips on creating effective grant proposals and also highlights significant notices of funding opportunities. So I'm going to be using the term NOFOs a lot. That just means notices of funding opportunities, and you'll see other terms. But NOFOs is what I tend to use. You'll see like solicitation or RFP, request for proposals, but I'm just going to say NOFOs. The second newsletter is the Research Development Digest, and this is actually assembled by our office. It's a homegrown project, and it highlights a lot of valuable grant writing information as well as upcoming important NOFOs. Okay. So coming back here, as I said, the CRC is a group of faculty that serve as an advisory board to the Vice President for Research. The CRC currently sponsors 8 internal funding programs and 4 honorary award programs. These programs are intended to enable faculty to gain the support needed to obtain external funding, or in the case of some arts and humanities fields, opportunities to publish, exhibit their work, etc. 2 programs are specifically seed funds, 2 programs are used primarily for summer salary funding, and 1 program is specifically for multidisciplinary equipment. And while the CRC's resources aren't intended to, like, support a faculty member's career like long-term, it's a way for a faculty member to, it's a way for FSU to make a little investment in a faculty member who might have a big idea that can be transformed into a large external grant later. Programs are offered either once or twice a year, depending on the program, and you can visit this website for more information about these opportunities. Okay, the funding for the arts page here and the funding for the humanities page here, these are new. I'm actually assembling them now. I hope if you're in the arts and the humanities, you will come here and investigate the options. Okay, Rachel's saying you can't see my screen. Okay. Okay, several other people can. All right. I don't know, Rachel. Here, let me see. Let me see if I can unmute Rachel. Okay, she's saying you can. Okay, sorry, everyone. All right. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Let's see. Okay. So We also have this limited submissions opportunities portal. This is one of my responsibilities handling this. And so limited submissions opportunities are, those are a specific type of grant program. Some of these programs only allow FSU to advance like a restricted number of proposals. So like, let's say the program says FSU can only submit one proposal. What we do is we ask that every professor who's interested in applying for that program, let us know at the Office of Research Development through this limited submissions portal. And then if we have more people who are interested than the program allows slots, we'll hold an internal competition and we'll decide, actually it's not us, it's the Vice President of Research to put together an evaluation team, but they'll decide on the strongest proposals and those will be the ones you'll advance. You can find out the more specific details here, or you can always email me if you're confused about this process. But basically, anytime you're looking at a NOFO, you want to check to see if it's a limited submission opportunity. You want to check if the agency only allows organizations to submit a limited number of proposals. And if so, then you'll need to work with us. Okay. Okay, we also have finally, this is the last thing I'm going to show you over here. We have this key funding opportunities web tracker. And the purpose of this web tracker is to just kind of list a lot of like really large grant opportunities or otherwise significant grant opportunities, including like notable annual cyclical awards and career development awards. And perhaps most importantly, we include on here all TARU awards. So TARU awards, or Top American Research University Awards, are important to FSU just because they're used in the metrics for determining like FSU's rankings, FSU's like accreditation issues, these things. So we're basically they're key university performance indicators. And so we want to get them. And so as a way of incentivizing faculty to go for them, actually winning one of these awards is considered an extraordinary accomplishment that can lead to an increase in your salary. Okay, we're turning back to the main website. And so I want to show you the bulletin down here. And so you can just go to the bulletin anytime. So the bulletin is right here. And the bulletin posts upcoming deadlines for funding opportunities for the next few months. So every month, at the beginning of the month, we post a new bulletin. And you can see here, we have two tables. We have the limited submissions programs to begin. You have the deadlines here, the program name here, and the agency here. And then under that table, we have just the more general key funding opportunities, including the TARU awards. The deadline here, the program name here, the agency here, and any special conditions, including if it's a career development award, like what level faculties we're talking about. Okay. Note with the limited submissions programs, just because we do have to set an internal deadline. So we ask faculty members, for instance, for this NEH grant, the Infrastructure and Capacity Building Challenge Grants Program, we ask them to let us know by March 8th if they're going to apply. And that way, everyone who's let us know by March 8th can be included in the internal competition. If the internal deadline has already passed and we haven't found slots yet, those go to just the first person lets us know, we'll grab a slot. And that's why you have up here like first come, first serve, because the internal deadline we said had already passed. So we just said, okay, next person lets us know if they want to apply, we'll get that slot. Okay. All right, so you can see our website itself has a lot of places that can be valuable for learning about discovering funding opportunities. So there in our piggy bank and in the bulletin at the bottom. Okay, so now let's talk about Pivot. Here's Pivot. Get started on your funding search with Pivot, and we have this whole page devoted to explaining what Pivot is. It says Pivot is a web-based program which compiles funding opportunities from public and private sponsors, allowing researchers to easily search for solicitations. It houses scholarly profiles, allowing researchers to search for and connect with collaborators. It enables researchers to save their tailored searches for weekly alerts. So that's really cool. You can get a weekly alert letting you know the new funding opportunities that are available for your tailored research interests. And it proposes funding opportunities to researchers based on their scholarly profiles. If you don't yet have a Pivot account, you can follow along with me and create one now. Like I said, we are recording this, and this will be available for you afterwards, along with the I have like a detailed PowerPoint of how to do this. That was, I'm not showing the PowerPoint now, but it's all there. So you can't keep up with me, that's fine, but I'm just going to show you how you can get an account. So okay, so go into Pivot, and that's I'll put the link in the chat if I can figure out how to do that. Here we go. That is not the link. Here we go. Go to Pivot, and let me log out of me so that you can see what I can show you what you're seeing. Okay, can you give me a thumbs up? Is that working? Can y'all see it? Can you see what's going on here? Okay, thank you, Courtney. Okay, and thank you for the people who said so in the chat. All right. Okay, good. It sounds like you can see what I'm doing here in Pivot. So, okay, so you're going to see this screen. If you don't have an account yet, you want to create an account. So you create an account. And here you'll have two options. You can use institutional login credentials, or you can use your email address / create a password. I want you to hit the second one. So use email address, create password. And then you can just fill in your name here. Be sure to use your FSU email address because FSU has a subscription with Pivot. So you'll only be able to get in if you use your FSU account, or FSU email. Okay. And then for affiliated member institution, be sure to put Florida State University here. Click consent, click you're not a robot, and then say create my account. Okay, Pivot will send you a verification email with a link to confirm your account registration. Then you should be able to get back to the main page, the same link I sent you in the chat, and then log into your account. Okay, so let's start from there. So I'm going to pretend like I just received my verification email from Pivot. I'm going back here to log in, and I put in. You need to email me for any reason. It's cbradley@fsu.edu. I'm putting in my password. Okay. All right. After setting up your account, the first time you log into Pivot, you should be prompted to claim your profile. Okay, so Pivot's editorial team has already gone ahead and created profiles for all faculty members at FSU. You'll want to claim your profile in order to sync up your user account that you just created with the Pivot profile the editorial team makes of you. This will allow Pivot to automatically suggest funding opportunities for your research interests. And other users will also be able to find you as a potential collaborator in research projects, and you'll get relevant funding alerts by email. Okay, so one person asked a good question. What if my profile is incorrect? Oh, and one person asked, do you know if they do that for graduate students as well? My understanding is that they do not do it for graduate students. You can create your own profiles as a graduate student, but the editorial team has not already set one up. But what if my profile is incorrect? Amanda, would you mind sending me an email, and I will work with IT to get you set up? Santa says, it happened to me, but I opted to change my password and now it worked. Interesting. Okay. Here's my email address, Amanda. And anyone else who might be encountering this issue, let me know, because I do think that there are some times when there may be multiple, the editorial team may have mistakenly created multiple profiles for you or something like that. So we'll work that out on an individual basis. Okay. So you can claim a profile later. If you didn't claim a profile yet, you can always claim one later by coming up to here. And this is your profile because I've already claimed my profile, but if you haven't yet, it should say claim your profile. Pivot should display a screen called select your profile, and that screen will display a list of possible matching profiles based on your account information. If you see the correct profile, select this is me. If the email address that they have on file for you matches the one you used in your Pivot user account, Pivot will send you a confirmation email with a verification. Once you've claimed your email, once you've claimed your profile, you can edit your profile anytime. So you come up here and your profile, or look, you can also click here, my profile, same thing. And you can edit it coming here. So I've already kind of started mine. Like I have a picture up. I have I put my CV up. Gives you the option to put in an ORC ID and ISNI, and I understand that these are IDs that researchers can use to make themselves like a unique discoverable ID. I don't know if any of you will have that. You can put in your fields of expertise here, your affiliations, education experience keywords, languages, publications, grants, patents. So it's nice to complete your profile so that other researchers who are looking for collaborators will be able to find you. Okay, so when you're done, it's done here. Why is this not going? Want to go? It's being difficult. Okay. Okay. Are you looking at? Do you see search for funding? Are y'all? Is that what y'all see when y'all look at my screen? Are we looking at the same thing? Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Okay. Thank you, Sandra. All right. Okay. It's hard when you have two monitors going. It's like I feel like I have so many different things up at the moment. Okay. Okay, so let me start to show you the different ways you can use Pivot to make searches. To begin looking for funding opportunities, you can conduct a range of quick searches, and those that could mean just like typing anything into this search bar right here, or you can just go to funding and you have these. I think there are like 4 significant options here. You have search all fields, search by funder, search by keyword, and most importantly, advanced search. And I really want to direct you to advanced search, but let me just show you quickly what you can do with these 2. So search all fields is basically you just enter your simple search terms. I want to point out that like Pivot allows you to make what I'm learning are called Boolean queries. So Boolean queries it's a searching technique which includes 3 key operators and or not. So you can have an and operator to narrow your search, and that's where you have 2 keywords, and it searches for results containing both the words. So you might have HIV and alcoholism. So that's a Boolean query with an and operator, and now you'll only find NOFOs that have both of those. Or you could have HIV or alcoholism. It could have one of those terms, it could have the other of those terms, or it could have both. The results. And then finally, you could have a not operator. So HIV, not alcoholism. Now you're going to find only NOFOs that have to do with HIV, but don't include alcoholism. Okay. Pivot search also allows for phrase searching and quotes. So if you want a phrase that goes together, like postmodern literature, you can have that. You'll see that doesn't find me. Apparently, there are no funding opportunities available for postmodern literature. Very sad. And you can have proximity searching. That's where you have like if there's a word. Yes, someone's asking if you can determine if it's available for grad students. I'll show you how to do that. If the funding opportunities are available for grad students. And then you can have proximity searching. So if there's a phrase that like postmodern within 2 words of literature. So again, that's not going to turn up anything, but It just means that it'll find NOFOs that include in the word postmodern within 2 words of literature, or you could have it within 10 words of literature. Okay. When you're ready, you click search pivot to run the search. Okay, and so note that the left-hand criteria here on the funding results has various criteria that you can use to further narrow your search. So as someone is asking, if you want to find out if it's available for I think, what did they say, grad student? Let's see. So, how do I find out if it's available for grad students? You might be able to find here, but maybe here, dissertation, thesis funding. This would be for postdocs. There's one that's apparently available for a dissertation. And so you can see over here how many of the funding results are actually available when you're looking for. Okay. All right. So let's go back and if you want to browse, instead of browsing just by a general search term, and you want to browse by the funder, click here. This is a good thing to do if I wanted to find out, for example, what funding opportunities are available from the National Endowment of the Humanities. I might click here. And I would see over 13,000 results. So that's a lot. Although, wait, that's or. So let's make it. Okay, that narrows it to 45 if you put it on the exact phrase searching. If you're unsure which funding agencies make sense for you to investigate, again, it's a good idea to learn about where other leaders in your research fields have received funding. So you can look on their pivot profile, or you could just go to their university and check out their CVs and determine which agencies have offered them grant funding. Okay, so finally, you might want to search by keyword. So searching by keyword lets you search for terms that the pivot editors have created to catalog funding opportunities. The pivot editors have developed a bank of what they call keywords to label different kinds of funding opportunities. Use the keyword search to locate funding opportunities tagged with keywords relevant to your research interests. When you type a word in the search bar, for example, humanities, HIV, alcoholism, you will be prompted with an internal hierarchy which you can use to narrow in on your specific needs. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I type in humanities, you're going to see these arts and humanities. This is this larger category, and then they kind of have a hierarchy going down, becoming more narrower and narrower. So if you wanted to, let's say you just wanted to do infectious disease, so you wanted to get broader than HIV, let's see what that would look like. Okay, well, disease is broader, and then infectious disease, actually, that's as narrow as they get. But anyway, you can see that, let's say you just picked disease or STD, for example. Anyway, you can have these keywords here. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody's raising their hand. I'm not sure how to unmute. Let's see if I can figure it out. Okay, Ashley, sorry. Did I unmute?
No, you're fine. You're fine. Definitely what intrigues me in this workshop is I have multiple sclerosis, and so I am interested in finding multiple sclerosis funding for grants that are available for just to see what is available and how can those be accessed and what can they be used for, so that I can create a further. Okay, so I have a goal to create further awareness about multiple sclerosis in the community. And so my goal was to use this to see what funding would be available for specifically multiple sclerosis diagnoses, chronic illness, I guess would be a broader term I would use if MS isn't found. Is that how this is going? Like if it's not, if I don't find something related to my disease, would I just go to a broader term? Like,
I think that's a great idea. And that's actually a really, I'm glad you said something because I think that's an opposite way you could use the hierarchy, but that makes a lot of sense. So let's say you
Okay.
want to study multiple sclerosis and it has going higher up the hierarchy. I don't want to mispronounce this, but demyelinating diseases. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
yeah,
very
no,
much.
demyelinating, yes.
Okay, and then neurological disorders, disease, and health and medicine. So you could see if you want to get broader and broader, it may be that, you know, the NIH is offering some opportunities specifically, you know, it can be for any kind of, you know, study involving neurological disorders, and you could apply for that one or something like that.
Okay,
So
okay.
that would be a good, actually, so that's a great way to use the hierarchy in reverse. So you could type in your keyword here and then see all the, like, how to get even larger, like even more broader.
Thank you.
And then, sorry, I see someone asked a question. I was wondering about it. Does pivot include forecasted grants or just posted ones? That's great. Thank you, Cindy. That's a good question. A lot of the times pivot does include anticipated grants. So they'll like let you know that there's this NOFA that they anticipate coming out, but it hasn't yet. So you'll see that included in your results list a lot. And so then I'll show you how you can track the opportunity so it can let you know when it's actually released. Okay. All right. So I've shown you search by field, search by funder, search by keyword. And now I want to just show you, I show you all that, but then I'm like, actually, what I really want you to use is the advanced search because it's wonderful. So the advanced search is allows you to create like very specific parameters for your searches, and with the idea that you can have narrow searches and very broad searches. So that would be the difference between like the multiple sclerosis search and like the neurological disorder search. So let me show you this. Okay. And so Pivot will search for opportunities that match all of the text fields you're about to enter or any of the criteria. So here, match all of the fields, here, match any. And if you need clarification about what these are, you can always check on this information thing. You'll see these little eyes around Pivot, so you can always check there for more information. Matching all of the fields is the default choice, and it produces a targeted search with fewer results. Matching any of the fields produces a much broader search with more results. Begin by setting your search terms. You should start by choosing which fields in the funding opportunities you want to search. So look here, you could look for words that are just in the abstract. So obviously words that are just in the abstract are going to be like the main, like key terms, the title. Now we're talking even more specific. The funder, you have these options here. I usually just click all fields because I want to keep it broad enough. So use rows for basically like analogous terms or roughly analogous terms or roughly analogous concepts. And then use columns for distinct. I mean, yeah, the rows. So keep the rows. So I'll say like HIV, AIDS, STD, like these are like roughly analogous concepts that you're going to be looking for funding opportunities that are talking about these. And then alcoholism, alcohol use disorder, and substance abuse. Okay, and let me show you how you might be able to use these like Boolean queries here. So alcohol use disorder, we can put that in exact phrase search. Substance abuse, we can do proximity search. We'll make this. So that's a Boolean search. And okay. All right. So after you have your key terms set, Pivot allows you to filter by award amount. You can use the drop-down menu to specify whether to search for more than an amount or less than an amount. You can also choose to include opportunities for which the funder has not specified an award amount. So by clicking that. Deadlines, you can also search by opportunity deadline. You can select a specific date range from a calendar, or you can search for opportunities that have a deadline within a certain number of days. Limited submission, you can restrict opportunities. You can restrict your search to opportunities that allow a limited number of submissions from one institution and to opportunities that require internal coordination. Applicant institution location. So many opportunities are only available to applicants from certain locations. So if you're planning to apply on behalf of FSU, then it makes sense to go ahead and select United States here. I would also recommend going ahead and selecting all of these too: unrestricted, unspecified, sub-entities, and super entities. And this will be just to ensure that you can capture all the possible options. Activity location. Think about where you're actually going to be conducting this research. And you can type it directly into the search box and it'll auto-populate. Or you can use this geographic browser to choose one or more locations that we just saw. So citizenship requirements, a lot of funding opportunities are limited to US citizens or citizens from other countries. So I do recommend you just go in here and identify your citizenship to save you time. Funding type, select any or all types of projects for which you are seeking funding. So this is where we see the opportunities to like set for, graduate students or fellowships, postdoc awards, if you're looking for a research grant as a faculty member, I would select this one. I have a lot of different options here, but this just allows you to clarify what kind of funding you're looking for. Keyword, so this again refers to Pivot's bank of keywords. So you'll type in a word and Pivot will search the suggested keywords. Explode is neat because it'll allow like all of the words on the browser hierarchy to show up. So let's see how that would work with the multiple sources. Okay, so it'll have all of them. Okay, applicant type. This field lets you identify your demographic group. So find out the applicant type, and also if you're if you want to identify your career stage, oftentimes that makes sense because a lot of these awards are only available to people on different career stages. So postdocs and junior faculty would usually click this one, individuals, early career and emerging. Graduate students, obviously that. Okay, but something I want to explain is that most of these NOFOs are written so that the person who's applying, when you say the applicant, it's actually FSU, FSU is the applicant. So you'll want to think about whether FSU fits the criteria. Sometimes it is the individual who's applying and you'll want to check for that, but a lot of the times it's FSU, and so in that case you would click academic institution. For future reference, when you're looking at the eligibility criteria of a NOFO and you want to see if FSU can apply, these are the three most common categories that we hit. Let me put in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see Robson's question. 1 second. Okay, so those are I put in the chat, the 501c3 nonprofit organization, academic institution, public state-controlled institution of higher education. Those are what FSU is designated as. Ravshan, he's asking as someone who's kind of I think he's affiliated with FSU, and affiliated scholar, I think your situation is a little unique, but Pivot certainly has opportunities available to researchers from all over the world. So you can still take advantage of Pivot, and you'll just have to set the criteria for your specific situation. Okay, funder type. The funder type, that allows you to identify what kind of funders you want, the country of the funder, And then recently added, you can put, Pivot's just always updating its database. So if you just want to see, if you're like doing your search regularly and you just want to see results that have updated in the last 7 days, then you could just click that or something like that. But I don't. Okay. So that's your inclusion criteria. So what's interesting about Pivot is that you don't only have to click inclusion criteria, you can also have exclusion criteria. So and the exclusion criteria works the same way the inclusion criteria does. So all of these fields are the same as they were on the inclusion criteria, but now any opportunity which matches those fields will be excluded from the final results. Okay, so let's see what we end up with. Sorry about that. What did I do? Hard to believe just one. Oh, because the last 7 days. Okay, what about the last 30 days? Okay, so I'm just kind of confused why I search for HIV and alcoholism. I guess it's just hard to believe that would only turn up one. I feel like there's something I clicked something that's confusing it. Okay, maybe it's because it's all instead of any. All right, so if you like your search, if you like your search, then you can save it here. So you could save your search, and probably a good idea to go ahead and save your criteria so that you'll know what it was for later. And here you can receive a weekly email containing new or updated opportunities from this query, and make sure that that's checked. It's checked by default. So you'll receive an email. If you don't want the weekly email, then you can unclick it, but it will be checked by default. So you can save it. Okay, and then also someone mentioned, well, we had mentioned okay, so here it says application confirmed. Sometimes it'll say application anticipated, and that's when the NOFO has not yet been released. So it's an anticipated NOFO. So you can click on the title of all of these NOFOs to find out more details. I just want to point out, as someone who looks at a lot of these, I've noticed that Pivot is often wrong, like the deadline date or other information will often be incorrect. So be sure, use this as a browsing tool, but if you actually are particularly interested in applying for opportunity, do be sure to go to the actual NOFO itself. So click on the link and look at the details there. And of course, you want to specifically find out when the application deadline is, but even more than that, find out what the applicant type is, what the eligibility is, because you don't want to waste time, pondering a funding opportunity that you're not actually eligible for. Okay, so if you like the funding opportunity, then you can track it. This will allow you to have a list of tracked funding opportunities that you're considering applying for. It'll also let you have regular notifications if there has been an update to the NOFO. Okay, so that's tracked. Let me show you one more thing before we end here. When you're actually looking at the search itself, so let's quickly type in one. When you click on the magnifying glass, you'll get a quick overview of the abstract and eligibility criteria. I would recommend, this is the fastest way to kind of quickly see, are you eligible? So for instance, this one, this is in R34, we have, it's eligible for higher education institutions, it's eligible for public state controlled institutions, higher education. So FSU can apply for this one. I wonder about this one. Okay, it seems this one seems to be for Indian citizens. So American citizens. Okay. Okay. So let me show you. Okay, so now you want to go back to your homepage. And you have your track dots here. You have your saved searches here. And when you click on your saved searches, note that it's hard to see because there's just one. But in general, like you would see, like, let's say you click on your search here, you might see, results for February 13th, 1, and then all 200. So if you wanted to go back to see all, you would click here and you'd see like the vast majority of them here. But in this case, there's only one for both. So sorry about that. I'm gonna probably figure out what I did wrong after this call. But anyway, so you'll see, okay, so this is more what I'm used to. So you'll see, 331 results here. Now that's actually from the advisor alert. So let me tell you what the advisor alert is very quickly. The advisor alert is here, and that's Pivot's recommendations for you. So based on your profile, based on your expressed research interests, Pivot will be sending you weekly alerts. If you don't want those weekly alerts, you can always uncheck this. But I find that the advisor list is very helpful. Okay. I'm going to show you something quickly, a couple other resources that are helpful. Okay, I hope you see a PowerPoint right now. And these two other searches are grants.gov, and that is a database compiling NOFAs from federal agencies. And you can actually get an app on your phone if you like. And then there's the foundation directory online offered by Candid, and that compiles funding opportunities by private foundations. So those are usually philanthropic opportunities. Those are both great resources, but I will say that Pivot will capture most, if not all, of the opportunities they offer there. So it's just like the difference between shopping for furniture at Ashley Home Store versus like an Amazon. You'll have a lot of opportunities at Ashley Home Store, but Amazon's better. Has more, let's put it that way. Okay. Sure. Someone asked if I could paste these opportunities in the chat. It's Grantsgov, and let me see if I can grab that one. Trying to grab it from the PowerPoint. Let me see if I can grab it elsewhere. Okay. Okay, so this is the conclusion of what I have prepared. I think the big takeaways here are that you want to take advantages of the resources that we've prepared on our board website, the Finding Funding page. So like the little, piggy bank eye contact emoji. You want to use Pivot, and especially the advanced search feature on Pivot to find funding opportunities. You want to create both narrow and broad searches. And you want to make sure that you save searches you like and request weekly email alerts. I will be sending out an email to all registrants of this workshop with my PowerPoint, as well as the ORD brochure. So I hope that you can, refer back to those if you start to forget. Finally, please contact Ord anytime if you need help with grants research. If you're a faculty researcher, you can always send us an email and we'll be happy to arrange to meet with you for a one-on-one consultation. If you're a graduate student, go to the Office of Graduate Fellowships and Award, and that is, I'll put that in the chat. It's easy to remember because it's also just like ours. It's graduate, it's OGFA.fsu.edu, Office of Graduate Fellowships and Awards. And then if you're a postdoc, go to the Office of Postdoctoral Affairs, same thing, OGFA.fsu.edu. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, so I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and I wish you luck on your funding search. We have a lot of dreamers at FSU, and I hope you will all go out there and make your research dreams come true.